Hi, I'm Annapolis Mayor Josh Cohen, and in this video I want to talk with you about the financials underlying the Market House deal. There's been a lot of discussion lately about policy relating to the Market House. Basic questions such as, should the city even have a public market, or should we rent it out to the highest and best use, or should we sell the darn thing and put it on the tax rolls? For those who feel, as I do, that the city should continue to make sure this is a public market house, there are questions about the operation. Should the city operate it? Should we turn it over to a nonprofit community development type of organization? Or should we take the approach that I'm proposing to lease it out to a top-notch market operator who will invest in it and build up its value over a long period of time? So there's a lot of discussions from a policy standpoint, but what's been noticeably absent from these discussions is an understanding of the financials, because the financials are what is driving the whole approach to the lease. The bottom line is there's only so much profit to be made from the Market House, particularly if it's operating as a below market rate public market, which cannot afford top rent. The margins are just too small for the city to expect a significant profit, as well as the operator who's going to be investing in it and paying the operating expenses. I'm going to give you just a few numbers. I'm going to try not to bore you with detail, but to give you a sense of what the Market House is expected to do. I'll give you two scenarios. One is if the merchants gross $4 million a year in sales, which equates to more than $1,000 a square foot, which is more than many successful restaurants do. If the merchants gross $4 million, then gone to market, their take-home pay will be about $112,000, and the city will take home about $32,000. So from gone to market standpoint, if it does very well, it's only going to be taking a little over $100,000. But let's say that it does not hit a home run. Let's say the Market House hits a double, to use a baseball analogy, and the merchants gross $3 million a year in gross sales. Then gone to market share is cut almost in half, down to $62,000. So the margin for gone to market is very minimal, particularly when you consider that the city is putting all the responsibility for operating expenses on gone to market shoulders. And they estimate operating expenses at $175,000 a year, every year, regardless of whether it's losing money or turning a profit, on top of over $100,000 of initial tenant improvements that gone to market is going to be making. So we all would love the city to be able to get a lot of money out of the Market House, as well as ensure its successful operation. But to put the numbers in perspective, even in its heyday, the city was only bringing in between $35,000 and $68,000. Again, there's only so much money to go around. I want to switch course briefly and talk about the capital improvements that the city is proposing to make, and we're going to go inside in just a minute. But I'm asking the City Council to support about $600,000 of improvements, which is a lot. But let me tell you what those improvements will pay for. The most important is to fix the air conditioning. And even though the city already has two systems, a conventional 60-ton system and a geothermal, the cost is estimated at $300,000 to $400,000, not for the system, but to install it and for the labor. Because we got to fit them up in the attic, we got to make sure the ductwork works, and if we go the geothermal route, we have to get a rig down here to drill wells. The air conditioning is not a discretionary expense, it's something we have to do. Another have-to-do expense is to put sprinklers under these eaves, because all these years that we've had tables and chairs outside, the Market House has been in violation of our own fire code. Let's go inside so I can tell you a little more about some of the other improvements I'm asking the City Council to support. In addition to installing the sprinklers under the eaves and fixing the air conditioning, which combined make up the vast majority of the $600,000, and neither of which are really discretionary, there's two other major improvements we want to make to improve the Market House. One is to fix this interior layout, and instead of having this bowling alley down the middle, reconfigure the stalls so that we open up the perimeter, the walls, for the customers again, like it used to be, so that instead of having the mops and the brooms have the best view of the harbor, the customers, after they order, they can take a seat and look out the windows and have a much better Market House experience. And in order to fix the interior layout, what the city will do is demo the walls and reconfigure the utilities within the foundation. From that point, it will be Gone to Market's responsibility and the merchant's responsibility to do the interior fit out for the stalls. The second major improvement we want to do has to do with the windows. Instead of having this enclosed shell, we want to literally breathe some life into the market house by opening up the windows and letting air flow through. And so we'll do that in one of two ways. We'll either install operable windows or we're going to install bifold doors. And if you're familiar with the restaurants on Inner West Street, Level, Small Plates Lounge, or Pad Thai, both of which have bifold doors, it adds so much to the experience that on a nice day, you can literally open up the walls and the customers sitting inside have the breeze. It's a much more authentic experience, and it's going to make the market house much more of a true destination. And that gets me to the final point about why we need to do this now, despite the price tag. And as mayor, I think I can appreciate as much as anyone the need for the city of Annapolis to live within its means. And last year, we demonstrated that we can balance our budget without raising the tax rate, even though it meant that I had to lay off 33 employees, cut $11 million from the budget, and that 13% reduction was the largest budget cut of any of Maryland's 157 municipalities. But being fiscally responsible, in my mind, does not simply mean reducing spending across the board. It also means prioritizing. And there are some things that are so important that you need to invest in them and do it right. And the market house is at the top of the list, not only because of its key role as a real community gathering place for Annapolis, but just as importantly as an economic engine for downtown. And all you need to do is look around at the for lease signs, walk up Main Street, walk down State Circle and Maryland Avenue, walk up Dock Street and talk to the merchants and understand how downtown is teetering on the edge, and we need bold action. We can't afford to take incremental steps. And it's tougher because unlike a police station where everybody can agree what the purpose is and what government's responsibility is, there never has been and there never will be a real consensus in the community about the market house. But that doesn't change the fact that it's the city of Annapolis's responsibility, and it's our responsibility to make a decision, because the worst decision of all is no decision. Right now, the city council has a lease before it that will bring in a top-notch operator, that will protect the city from paying any operating expenses, and that will ensure the historic, authentic use of the market house for 30 years to come. It's up to the public now to make its voice heard and share your points of view, whether you support this proposal or whether you disagree with it, so that the city council can make a more informed decision. I want to thank you for your time. As always, you can reach me by calling 410-263-7997. To look at the lease itself, you can go to the city's website, annapolis.gov, where there'll be a link. You can also email me at mayor@annapolis.gov, or you can visit my blog, mayorcohen.com, to leave a comment. Thank you for watching.